This is Off Track.
Hello and welcome.
Hello, welcome. We're doing this old school.
Crunch,
We're having
crunch.
a snack.
Dude. All right, Tuesday episode. This is going to be a fast one, guys, because we all have lives and we all have things to do. And quite honestly, my day was booked, and then it became unbooked. So I wanted to join you guys. Oh, we'll talk about it later. I think we need to have a rapid response first to some big news that came out, IndyCar news that came out yesterday, post-Detroit Grand Prix. This is the second time in two races that the second place, man, a lot of twos, 2-2-2, that the second place guy has gotten penalized.
Don't finish second in Gateway.
Wasn't planning on it.
I mean, he got to keep it this time.
Yes, but he lost all the points
though.
which is what anyone cares about. Like, no one really cares about the trophy.
So, for those that weren't paying attention, Santino Ferrucci, the 14 AJ Foyt car, was found to have an underweight driver ballast. Their car total was over the minimum weight, but the driver ballast was not weighted. What is a driver ballast?
So, there needs to be a combined car and driver minimum weight. So there's kind of a minimum weight for the car itself that rolls across the tech pad. And then there is a weight for the driver. They've kind of set the driver average, they have set the driver average weight at 185 pounds. So when we talk about how drivers have to go weigh in on Friday after practice, when they remember.
Or not.
Too soon?
No.
Alex missed 10 minutes of practice in Detroit because he forgot to do this. But you get 15 minutes at the checkered flag.
We weren't going to learn anything.
I do like that they make it the last 10 minutes of the session just to like really screw you. So you've got 15 minutes.
Detroit practice 2, the end of the session is usually a cluster. So anyways, whatever. It doesn't matter. It is designed that way.
Go ahead. So yeah, you got 15 minutes after FP1 to get to tech, weigh in, whatever amount under 185 you are, that's how much you have to add as your driver ballast. So if you're over 185, kind of tough luck, you're sort of just carrying around a little bit of extra weight. That's what driver ballast is.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
There's weight savings that can be done on the car. Right. So ultimately, your combined weight, in theory, could be the same as someone that weighs 130 pounds if you're able to get the car lighter.
So there's not a minimum weight on the car itself.
No.
So the minimum weight is the combined weight of the driver, the ballast, and the car?
With like X amount of fuel in it or something. Yeah.
Got it.
Do you remember what that number is? It's like 1,700 and
1780 is what comes to mind.
Yeah, it's something like that, or 1785.
I have the email from IndyCar yesterday. I feel
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The point of the matter is that Santino had zero performance advantage whatsoever, because what matters in terms of lap time on a race car on a racetrack is the overall weight, the weight you're carrying around for the entire lap, right? It doesn't matter that the car didn't have the correct amount of weight in the alleged spot that they were supposed to put it, not the alleged spot, in the spot they were supposed to put it. In theory, I guess you could argue that there's a weight distribution thing, but like none of this was done, again, I don't think out of any sort of intention. It was very similar to the penalty that I had in 2022 Indy GP, where we won the race, rolled across the tech scales. We were over the minimum weight, combined weight, but they pulled out the water bag, which I had in the car the entire race, right? And the car fell under. And technically the water bag cannot be used as ballast, even though that it was something that was in the car for the entire race.
So your total weight was legal, but the way you got there wasn't.
Correct. Identical to Santino.
So, okay, now, obviously, this was not like Marcus Ericsson's penalty where he was moved to the back after the fact, right? And you just said this had no effect on the actual legality of the combined weight of the car. But, like, did the attenuator have anything to do with it? Or did the changes that Marcus had done have anything to do with? Like, did that actually have a performance value too?
Wait, just so we're clear, I zoned out for a second there. We did mention that the car was overweight on its own, right?
Yes.
So that,
and by the way, it's
combined, he was-
1,785 pounds, the minimum.
There you go. We were pretty
guess.
close. So what was the question? Why,
I'm
why
saying-
was Marcus
okay.
thrown to the back? And
So yeah, Marcus
Santino
was
set
thrown to the
points
back,
second way?
and I understand the idea that like this was an accident where the other ones you could argue were clearly they intended to break the rule or flirt with the rule, but like did the other penalties that had really harsh responses like the attenuator or like Marcus Ericsson, did they have a competitive advantage from them, or is it just because it was blatant?
I think. Well, Alex, it's kind of your theory. I mean, we talked about this, and you kind of had the theory being that one was an intentional
error.
modification of a part, right? Regardless of whether it was for a performance advantage, an aesthetic advantage, a fit, like just to make it physically fit, versus this was sort of an oversight, like a human error thing. Is that because I don't think we've actually heard from anyone officially why the penalty was what it was. It is in line with what we're used to seeing, right? 25 points, $25,000. That's what you got in Indy GP. That's what I got at Texas. There's a precedent for that. It was the Indy ones that seemed a little more outside the realm of what we're used to. And this is kind of your theory as to why that is the case in this particular situation.
Right. I think as much as malicious is an unfair word, I think two can be viewed as intent to live in the gray area or to break a rule or to try and be clever or whatever. And the other one is purely a human error or, like you said, an oversight sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's why there's the discrepancy in penalties. Again, this is all assumption. I'd love some clarity on it. Like it'd be nice because I feel like a lot of people are confused. So
yeah,
I'm surprised that there's not like someone that said, hey, we get why this would seem weird because we just did this a week ago to the second place car for a much more severe penalty. And these are the reasons why this is not the same case. Because like, I think that would be nice to hear.
So I don't watch NASCAR, but I feel like in Cup, I always see on social media when they have a penalty that's given for somebody failing tech, they will do some sort of video where they'll show the part that didn't match, or they'll go through and explain, this was like this is how we caught it. This is why this penalty was given. I feel like that would be helpful.
NASCAR's got a bit more of a history of this. And again, this is something that we were talking about is we're used to in NASCAR on like a Monday hearing a litany of, all right, so it's almost like an expected thing. Here's who's getting, a $10,000 fine for a lug nut being loose, or here's, X, all the way up to here's $100,000 and 100 owner points and a suspended crew chief, right? Where like we have not really had that. And it almost seems like we're entering this world where now it's like just a matter of who and what will be dinged in post qualifying or race tech. Again, nothing wrong with that if that's kind of understood to be, the thing that like the methodology moving forward. I do think it was a bit of an oversight on the IndyCar side to not offer an explanation just in light of what we've been through in May, to different scenarios with multiple high profile disqualifications, however you want to call it. And not having some clarity on why this penalty realm is different. I'm sure there is a good reason, but when I go and look at, the response on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, it's the number one question. It's like, well, why is he allowed to quote unquote keep the second place? So it's, we assume that's what it is. Surprised that there's not a little bit more clarity from IndyCar on that. I imagine when we get to Gateway, some journalist will ask that question to somebody who knows that answer, and we'll all be smarter for it at the end of it. But for the time being, there's still a little bit of question mark as to why. Important thing is no discernible performance advantage for Santino, so nobody should care really. This is just it's a tech thing. It's a simple rules thing. The amount of driver ballast he was supposed to have in the car was not correct, even though the total amount of weight in the car was assumedly more than
10 pounds over the minimum weight of the car.
Yeah, the only thing is I don't think anywhere is actually stated how much under the driver ballast was.
I didn't see it in the email, but I can go back.
I don't think it said it in the email.
I love how
sort of
Tim has
assuming-
referenced this email like 4 times. He just loves to get the emails.
He just loves it. He's
do.
on the media list now. And he's
Well, you
like
guys
in
know
on
my
it.
FOMO.
It's
Well, I
true.
don't get the
I just
email.
didn't think. I didn't think this was the kind of thing that you'd be.
I want to be involved in
about.
everything. Also, I'm going to say this just because we stressed this when it came to Marcus and Kirkwood and everybody who got the penalties or qualifying around the 500 and after the 500. Nothing to do with the driver. Santino wasn't loading the ballast, right?
No. No.
I'm kidding.
He's not. So yeah, so that's like the IndyCar news of the day. We've got the full Detroit debrief coming, obviously on the Thursday episode as per usual.
Wait, before we get to the boat stuff, because I know we did.
What boat stuff?
I thought that's where you're transitioning.
Why do you assume it's boat stuff?
Tim just interrupting again.
Sorry, before we transition off this, okay, knowing what you guys know now, I feel like you've kind of hinted at the fact that you don't think he should have had the race. I have to edit this in 5 minutes.
Sake, Tim. James.
You know that it seems like you're implying you agree that he should not have had the second place forfeited, or is that not what you guys are saying?
No, I'm not saying that. I think there just needs to be a little bit more clarity and understanding as to why 4 tech infringements happened, and there was 6 tech infringements happened, and there was post-event penalties, yet 5 were essentially the same and 1 was different.
I am going to say that I do agree he should not have lost it, just as I agree that Marcus, Kyle, and Callum shouldn't have lost theirs. It's more just the explaining and understanding the difference as to why one penalty was what it was versus the other, for me, at least. But yeah, do I think that I think any driver should lose a second place because their driver ballast was off by a pound or 2? No, I do not. Points, fines, sure. Rule books exist for a reason, black and white, all that stuff. I get it. But no, fundamentally, I don't think that someone should lose for something like that. Anyway, little bit of time off before the next race. So, what was on your list of things to accomplish this week, Alex?
Well, James, I think people know that I have a boat.
Yeah, we've talked about the boat.
Boats like cars, like electronics, like whatever. They have warranties, and my warranty is expiring at the end of the month. I obviously have not had much time this past 6 weeks. And I don't envision, just stuff and babies and cars and stuff. And I don't envision that I'm going to have much time coming up in the next 3 weeks with 2 races and such. So I took advantage of a beautiful day. You are a couple of friends of ours, Connor, Christian, decided to take a little nice Tuesday afternoon wake surf session. And I don't know, about an hour in after we had lunch, Connor was surfing behind the boat. Everything was going fine. He was doing great. We were having a great time, listening to music in the sun, pretty empty lake. And we just hear a bang and we start slowing down. And Connor doesn't start slowing down. And fortunately, he had the wherewithal to turn left and not run into the back of the boat, because we don't need to be braking race car drivers, obviously. And it would seem that we had some sort of driveline catastrophic failure, whether that's drive shaft, gearbox. It's not the prop. Prop was fine, but the engine just revs and there's no spinny of the proppy, so you don't go anywhere.
A lot of clanky, clingy noise.
So in the moment, I was like, what do I do? Because what do you do in that situation? So you recommended that I call the marina, and I called the marina, and they just laughed at me.
That was the best part.
They were like, and I was like, okay, well, if you don't have a tow service, that's fine. Do you have a number of I'm sure there's a guy that would love to take $500 off me, right, to come tow me in. And she was like, no, boaters who are in this situation just rely on other boaters to be nice and help them. And I was like, cool, tight.
It's a neighborly system.
Yeah. So my buddy got on the phone to one of his friends to see if he could help. And I called our good friend, very good friend of all of us, Marissa Andretti, because obviously Michael lives on that lake. Maybe not obviously, but Michael lives on that lake. And I was like, hey, is your dad home? Or if he's not home, is there someone at the house that wouldn't mind coming and rescuing us? And she laughed for about 30 seconds, and I was like, yeah, I'm on it. And no less than 10 minutes later, Michael Andretti was rolling up on a pontoon. He was in the middle of a business meeting. So in very much Michael fashion, he just took the guy out on the pontoon with him, and they continued having their meeting as they towed us in to the dock, which was incredible.
It was just a comically hilarious situation. I mean, I do want to go back to the point where it all happened, and Connor's behind the boat. Not a super experienced wake surfer, right? But I've always looked at wake surfing as like the safest kind of recreational thing that a driver could do mid-season, right? Yes. Like of any kind. Like how many guys have
going 9 miles an hour?
9 miles an hour into water. Like what's the worst that could happen? Evidently, when the boat just like pulls the e-brake on you and you're using the boat for propulsion and you are hanging right off the back of said boat. Connor does deserve honorable mention for not just driving straight into the back of the thing
and losing some teeth. Yeah.
And losing some teeth, maybe a couple stitches. Wouldn't have been great. Hilarious. And then, the visual of just all of us sitting in the boat as we get towed back to the marina by Michael Andretti was
of all people
so amazingly comical. And to Connor's point, there were 4 racing drivers in some capacity on that boat. All of them at some point in their life had driven a car owned by Michael Andretti.
And kind of when I saw his tweet, it reminded me of Marissa's wedding because it was you were up there with them. It was you, Marissa, and Greg. I was like, just 3 of Michael's employees.
and it was funny because like I didn't really know like what kind of mood he'd be in about it all. And he was just loving it because he was like, hey man, you're lucky I'm retired now. Like, I guess you're right.
Yeah, this is opening line, rocking up. It was hilarious. And then as he's telling us, him and the guy he was with just kind of continued their chat on the boat, their meeting. So very very efficient.
The next big concern was it's a very large,
it's a heavy boat.
It's a heavy boat, big boat. And I was a little concerned about how we were going to get it on the trailer because previous vehicles that I've owned kind of required you to power load it a little bit for fear of ending up on qualified captain because you back your truck or your car or whatever too far down the...
Explain power loading.
Power loading. That's when the trailer's in the water, but not all the way, and you just use all 600 horsepower of, Ilmore Marine engines to just power your way onto the trailer. Because this boat, you can't winch on. Like it's not, it's
too heavy.
It's pushing 10,000 pounds, right? So, it's not a little fishing boat or whatever. So thankfully, I've got a very big 3/4 ton Chevy diesel Duramax, company car that we backed that bitch like in to the lake. And we were like, well, should be fine. And we were able, apparently when you submerge the entire trailer, into the lake and half the truck, then you can easily bring the boat on because it's not on anything. It's truly still floating in the water. We pulled her out, and it's going in to the shop tomorrow. Already made the call, already made the booking. And they were like, sweet, your warranty is valid. And we will get on ordering parts immediately.
I think the takeaway here is if you're stranded on Geist, Michael Andretti will save you.
He is retired.
That is what he's doing.
I think the takeaway is that either all products are meant to fail in and around warranty time.
Yes.
So anything that you have that has a warranty expiring, go use the shit out of it right now.
Go throttle the thing for the last month.
Yeah, to make sure.
Try to force that. Yeah, 100%. Frankly, I think Michael's sitting on a great business idea because evidently there is nobody on Geist that does any kind of towing service. And look,
instead of Andretti Autosport, it's Andretti Towing.
It's like those hikers that get lost and then it turns out Harrison Ford saves them. Have you heard all those stories? It's happened more than once. It's like it's that.
I've heard stories like that from
landing on wrong runways.
Golf courses.
Look, the good Harrison giveth, the good Harrison taketh away.
I'm not sure that's his saying, but
that's our Tuesday. Definitely tune in for Thursday because all the nitty gritty that you want to hear about Detroit, is there. We talk about it.
Just real quick, 1.06 million peaked at 1.2 for Detroit. Not bad.
Congrats.
Pretty happy with that.
Very good.
Not a bad
Very
place
good,
to
James.
be. And we're just going to keep that rolling, man. It doesn't happen overnight, but we're making progress every week and things are moving along. So love that team. His first appearance. And here is our guest for the Tuesday episode, Baby Ben.
I love
What's happening,
babies so
buddy?
much.
He's flailing. Anyways, guys, great to see you.
This has been Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. Off Track is part of the SiriusXM Sports Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please give a 5-star rating and leave a review. Subscribe today wherever you stream your podcasts. We are at Ask Off Track on Twitter and Instagram, and if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Hinchtown and at Alexander Rossi. If you want to follow Tim, though we have no idea why you would, he's at the Tim Durham on Twitter. Find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel for exclusive video content. Off Track is produced by Tim Durham, and by that we mean Tim.